It's very wonderful and amazing to see friends and family members after a long time. In fact, Brother Asoni and myself, we had gone through very dangerous nightmare those days, and it was God who saved us, and it is because of His leading that we can see each other today. So let us thank God for that. As has been said, since we are approaching the season, the week of what we call this Good Friday, Palm Sunday, Good Friday, and Easter Sunday, my topic today relates to these seasons happenings, and today I'll be speaking on why Jesus had to die for you and me. Why? Why Jesus should die for you and me? Just imagine the idea of purposely slaughtering an animal and offering them up to a deity to please the deity. Does it seem good or does it seem very barbaric? Nang ay gidamakta, miyoiba ay ko'y gidamakta, sama hatlaga, laida katpa hay si, kanba madamda. Ay ko'y kramhay na kale, how do we feel about it? Yamna, maybe a very revengeful God or very angry spirit may demand blood. I'll repeat, very vengeful God or very angry spirit may demand blood from us. But can we imagine the God of forgiveness and the God of love? The God we worship requires someone's blood to cleanse you, to reconcile with you. Can you imagine this? And why should the blood of Christ be necessary to make you righteous in the eyes of God? Sige matangda ay nakra-share to jage ahanbada sorda hay jase. Ipa isor nacha sing ay koy na ngasi changlakpa matamda ay koy pum na makithamoy manungda nakithwai sing bana thabak tawpiyo hay na Prabhu Jisu Christ gi mingda nijabani sorgo ta na lokat piyo. Amen. Genesis chapter 3 if we go to Genesis chapter 3, we see the story of the fall of humanity. The story of the fall of humanity, it is recorded in Genesis chapter 3, and it was because of disobedience by one man and one woman. Ipka Adamna isorgi haiba indabagi maramna, the humanity itself, the humanity prithibi pumbasi taibangmi pumbasi asina isorgi mijeng dagi takiba adugi wari do aikoina papa pangeko aduna the disobedience of Adam and Eve brought sin into the world, and again sin brought death to all humanity. Bible Romans chapter 5 verse 12 wherefore as by one man sin entered into the world, and death by sin, and so death passed upon all men, for that all have sinned. Romans chapter 5 verse 12 ta. Because of disobedience of the first couple, Adam and Eve, sin entered into the world. And that sin brought upon death into all humanity. Haibani. Ko. Aduna hujikti aikoina Genesis chapter 3 verse 21 da aikoini yeng patarabati. When God created the universe, ko Genesis ki in the story of creation aikoina papa matamda isorna creation si sema matamda let there be light hairaga light le let there be water hairaga water loina ko let there be man haiba haibam khaidu loin tawe duda let there be death haibati aikoina thengna de ko there was no death at all asi basi semlam de habam tamdo da. And the first death in the history recorded was in Genesis chapter 3 verse 21 da. In Genesis chapter 3 verse 21 where God has to cover Adam and Eve with animal skin. Adam and Eve na paap ta takraba matamda. Now they have sinned. They have whole sort of the glory of God. And they are now separated from God. So something has to be done. Krino madi tawba tarab ne aduna madu isorna kri tawbra hairaga God cover their nakedness with the skin of an animal. That was the first death happened in the history. History da anba asiba haibatok pato adu da thok kibine ko aduna ikoina khanduni engse haba ko killing an animal sama hatpa killing an animal for the sake of somebody means what madugi arthado yam lubane haba ko it was a graphic demonstration of the nature of sin committed by Adam and Eve. Ay gimaram na isor masamang na manap nung sina semba animal ama hatpa haibasi ay koy wakanda kanba matam yawbra kriyumba kanda batarabdi hauji khanse ko aduna takpadi kritak prahiraga Adam ga Eve ki pap ado kya gi matik sathi bra haibdo kya gi matik madugi meaning do kya gi matik chawbra haibdo adu utpane haibne da ko aduna since the covering was possible only with bloodshed. Leviticus chapter 17 verse 11 da Leviticus chapter 17 verse 11 da haibasi kri haibra hairaga covering of sin is possible only with blood. I tabanatana papok pangamde haibani. Konen ay koy New Testament su adu gumadu tekna gani ko. Adumay na tawraga Adam ga Eve sina pap tabagi maram na the first killing of animal, or we can say the first death ever occurred on earth. So, adu isor na di mabani bu cover di the weak re. Mabani ki their nakedness was covered with the animal skin by God, but unfortunately, things went further downhill. Hen improve tawgadra hairaga makoy ki punsi do hen improve tawgadra hairaga hen na padlak tre ko matang hen na padlak tre aduna in the second generation ko if ka Adam bu isor na cover tawbi khrawa matong da improvement lagto na hen na phagadra hairaga reverse up hen na phataborom da chat kiduna ko hen na phataborom da chat kiduna second generation matamdadi kri thok pra hairaga Cain kill Abel. Makoy inimang na pokpa patsano pa. Aduna second generation dadi Cain na magi manaw no pa Abel do hat kre ningo. Why did Cain kill Abel? Because of jealousy. Bible ได้ค่อยน่ะทำไมในเทงไหนก็เกณฑ์น่ะอาเบลโบฮัดประตูกรีกิตมักฮัดปลายระกะกัลักบกินเน่กัลักมีเขาบกิฮัดปะเน่อดูนะ that was the first killing happened in the history of God in the history recorded in the Bible ก็ Bible da ahan ba mihat pa hay bedo ken na abel bohat pa do ni adu na takpudi kritak prahay raga what it shows was that now the sin of Adam and Eve are bearing fruits ko Adam ga Eve ki papado mahi pan ba ho re hai bani chumdra ai na pap tawbagi maram na ai ki icha sing du da pap la khare my son killed his own brother because I committed sin. Aduna hojikti in the second generation, when in the first generation God had covered Adam and Eve, their nakedness, or their sin with animal skin, thing did not happen better. It happens, it goes from worse to worse. พัตตาบัดกี้เห็นพัตตาบรมจะสักขีดุนะ second generation มาดำดัดีกรีทอกปลายระกามาบ้านี่กีป้าอดูมาให้ปาลักตัวน่าจิกตี fruits ปาลักตัวน่ามาจ้าสิ่งน่ะมาจ้าสิ่งโบหัดเปล่าแบบนี้ก็มาทั้ง history ได้อีกคนน่ะป้ามาดำดา men grew more wicked ก็เห็นนะพัตตาบะเห็นนะพระกตรายระกามีอ้อยบสิเห็นนะพัดลักตะดุนาคนทั้งที่ไบเบิลนะกรีรีคอร์ดตัวรายระกา there was none righteous in the eyes of God there was none who obeyed God ก็ and there was none who is afraid of God except one man called Noah ให้เป็นยังไงก็นั่นตรา generation มาทั้งสุดประการได้ดีปริธีบีปุ่มบสิดาอิสโอร์กีดบะอิสโอร์มาสักขังดบะป้าเจนเป็นทันมันขนาดนั้นมีมาขัดตะเลรำเครเฮอิสโอร์มาสักขังบสิก็ตุดิกนาโนไฮระกะโนอาเนเฮอดุนะอิสโอร์น่ะโนอาบูอาร์คเซมัลลกะมากีอิมงสิงอดุกะปริธีบีกีจีบะมีอามสิกีสเปเชียสมีอามดูเซฟตัวกีบิดูกีวารีเอกไปนักขังเองก็กระสุปริธีบีปุ่มบสิดาอิสโอร์ขังบะอิสโอร์กีบักนาสุเลยเตะมีมาขัดตั้งไงเครเน่ just imagine ปริธีบีปุ่มบดาให้ริมเน่มณีปูร์ให้ในคอยที่ปิกนั่นเราเลยสิก็มณีปูร์สิดาอิสโอร์ท่าจะบะมีมาเผาพังดับตาระบะก็งั้นสิกินุมิตสิดามณีปูร์สิดาอิสโอร์มาสักขังบะมีมาเผาพังดับตาระบะมีมาขัดตั้งเลยรำบตาระบะดีอิสโอร์นักรีขันกันนี่ what would be the reaction of God มานะนุ่งซีจนะเซมบะมาคุดมังนะมานะเซมจะบะมีสิ่งมากีมาสักคมเราเรื่องเซมบะมีสิ่งดูนะ99.99สินะมากีมาสักขังลักตะบะตาระบดีอิสโอร์กี reaction ดูกรีเอาอีกได้บะก็สมัยนั้นตัวรำดูนะฮุสิกตีโนอาห์ตัวรำเพลก็even Noah himself he ended his life in drunkenness ก็นักข่าวนิ่งสิงเองก็ and in family discord มาสู่อยู่เงามันดูนะมาจานุป้าสิงนะโลนนะผีเผาบ่อยมาสักอย่างแต่ดูนะกุบปีบมาตั้งเลยนะก็โนอาห์ดูอดูกามานะบอร์อามาบุปีแต่ตัวน่ะอามาบุปีบกี้มาค่อยมาจินมานาวดาเฟมิลี่มันยังดาดิสคอร์ดทอกว่ายามเลยนะก็โนอากิวารีตัวสุอดูไม่นะตัวตัวน่ะปริธีบีซีมาทั้งนงมากี่วันนะพัดตะไปเห็นกันละเครเฮก็อดูน่ะมาตั้มมาดูตัวดีก็เมื่อไงกี่Genesis chapter 9กี่verse 20 to 27นักว่าอย่างลับดีเขาจะกันนะโนอาห์กิวารีให้ตัวนักว่าถึงนักนี้ก็ if you see Genesis chapter 9 verses 20 to 27 you will find what I am telling you now about Noah how he become drunken ก็ and how he brought family discord อดุกุมตุนค่อยในเถียงนารำกันนี่ก็อดุนะมาตามมาดูดา as of that time there was no clear promise ก็ there was no clear promise that God would one day save his children except the rudimentary ให้สิระก็ imagination ดาย่ำนัก clear โดยดาบะอดุกุมนะ Genesis chapter 3 verse 15 ดาอิสรนะNanggi darabu nupi sigida na makop nethat kini hay na haiba adu natana atopa isorgi clear cut promise leramde. Ko matam duda. Adubo bat. Mi singna adoki metik hatki daba tarabaso. God, the Holy God, wanted reconciliation with his sinful man ก็อาศัยยังไปอิสรดุนะดีปามนะโมดคราบะมีสิ่งอดุกะ reconcile ตาวะอิสรดุนะปามละมีเห็นไหมก็อดุนังอาศัยนะไอ้นะให้บุกุมนะ the first chapter of Genesis talk about the creation of God ก็อดุดะครีไฮบรายระกะ Genesis chapter 1 verse 27 ตะดิครีไฮบรายระกะอิสรนะมีบุMagi masak lauduna seme hai ko God created man and woman in his own image hai Bible na hai si ko what do you mean by making in his own image kasi koi na church karak pa matamda when we come to this church just before this parliament thana you will find a statue of kanogi Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel gi statue ay koi na uwe ko mudugi statue gi artha krino that statue represent the original natra statue represent the original the statue points to the original and the statue speaks about the original natra and these images in various places images are erected to display the original. Adu ay na ko. Original do po display do na ngay gidamakta. Statue sing si same na ba. Kasi da Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel gi oigyo is no whether be of Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel or of Mahatma Gandhi or whoever. Makoy gi statue same ba adu ka kinba hay ba siti krimaram na kinbra hay raga magi original do adu po display do na ba ko. Original to display to ba. Aduna what God wanted was that isorna mioibabu when God created human beings in his own image his idea was that the entire world should be full of his reflectors Prithibi apumbasi magi masak manba mina thansanu hay bani ne Sorna pambasi ko. Prithibi pumbasi magumba asing ba mising na tansanu hay bani. Mana magi masak mana sembagi arthati ko. He wanted humanity to be knowing him, loving him, and displaying him. Isay day ko na saktra. Let others see Jesus in you hay nako ikoi ni isay da say nako mi sing na nang boyeng ba matamda nang oy na uda do na Jesus Krista oy na usnu hay na ikoi ni isay sak do do ne isorna magi imesa ikoi bu semba hay sidi ngasay na hay bido God wanted that the entire world should be full of his own reflectors his image reflectors Magi masak man ba mising na tansunu ing tatap na tansunu nung sina ba na tansunu hay bani ko adobo isor na ning ba adudagi tongan na mising na chatlam khare ba ko adudi ikoi myam khangen na ko mioi ba na khan ba na tongan na isor ge ning ba digi chatlam khare ba the world was totally in shambles Prithibi pum kai khare pam na san khare Lau na ngay kriso lay tre. Kanasu afaba leitre. Amot pagi amot pangatan thankre phatta bagi phatta ba kalak na ba yengthi na ba hat na ba suna ba na thankre. Even then, go. In spite of all this violence and sins all over the world, God decided to call out a nation from their captivity to worship Him, to be with Him, and to be His original people. Israel macha singbu mahangna Egypt ki kauthok le heraga atuki matik phathi daraba mi singbu mana kauthok le heraga magi manakta thamge hai duna mana honna khiba wari aikhoina khangdaba nate ko. Today you may be in the midst of all these problems. Your entire life may be totally immersed in the sea of sins, in the ocean of sins. Yet, God is calling you. Israel macha sing bumang na kauthok pagumna. Today, God is calling you and me. He wanted to call out you and me to be His man and to be His woman. Oh. Mana mokoibu Egypt ki puthok le heraga 40 years in the wilderness. Mokoibu mana chingbi bu matamda aigi leipom sem bio haina tabernacle same laga. God was with them. Ko mokoi gi manakta isor du leibni. Adubo God was so holy that amot pamina manakta changmangamde. Even Moses could not approach him. Mai gumna burning fire gumna isordo burning fire gumna oibnina Moses mangnasu manakta changmangamde isor gi manakta changmangamde ko. Aduga mokoina Israel cha singbumana lamhangda 40 years koipu bubu matamda, even though he was residing in the ark or tabernacle built for him, they cannot approach him directly. No one can approach him directly. Kanan so mangwanda direct approach so bangam dabani. 1 Samuel chapter 6 verse 19. Aduga 2 Samuel chapter 6 verse 7 do aikoni yeng labadi. Aikoni kri u phangbra hairaga. Manak nak na changba phawbada magi mai duna isorgi asengba mai duna chaklaga mi sibni hai. Tabernacle do ark do yengba phawba yade hai. Ko Kram tawra yengning hai na yengba phawba yade hai. Sokba yade hai. Touch tawba yade hai. No one can touch the tabernacle where God resides, and no one can even snoop around. Wow. Mokoy do sibni hai. Ojiki 1 Samuel chapter 6 verse 19 duga 2 Samuel chapter 6 verse 7 da hai bidu ko. Aduna hojikti isor na di magi mising asibu mangonda puraklaga maga nagnaraga hingmin na ba pamlabaso nang ay gi pap sina taibang mi hoy ba ikoi gi pap sina isor gi manakta changba yadarabni na. Changba yadarabni na, since we cannot go near to God, even though God wants me to be with Him, since I cannot go near to God, God has to do something for me because I cannot do anything for me. Ay nadi Kristo tawbang amdabani na isor na grinoma tawiba daram ne hojikti ko. Aduna isor na tawbusi kri tawbibra herga. He intervened. God intervened and He instituted a temporary solution. He arranged a temporary solution where He instituted animal sacrifice. Harigdi mi oi ba ikoi panggal na isor manakta changba ngamdrabni na isor na masa mathanda na tawba tarabni na hojikti mana animal sacrifice nga sa ikoi na Genesis ki ahuba parado da ipka adambo cover to bibagumna ko if ka adam bu cover to bibagumna Israel macha sing bu su cover to biba ya nangai gi damakta mana temporary solution si hudok le herga animal sacrifice si hudok bibne ko isor na ko aduna hojikti chai kudingi mukhoina aikoina bible da pai na ko chai kudingi mukhoina Jerusalem sida laglaga natraga mukhoina Jerusalem sadringai da wilderness ta mukhoina koiringai matam da so chai kudingi mukhoina unblemished animal ko khwaidigi sengba amakba leitaba no defect ama phau leitaba adugumba animal do mukhoina sacrifice tawre raga Israel macha singna mukhoigi pap ki muhutta ko mukhoigi pap ki muhutta sadu sibani ne ko sei kudingi sa sibane ba aduna di kri gi damakta tawbra hairaga ngasai na haibado nang ai gi damakta aikoina hingduna leiba sa ma kathallaga isorda klaima da katpa haibasi can we imagine it adu the forgiving God and the loving God minung si khangba mi bungak pipa haiba isorna madu darka leye hena haiba sidi aikhogi pap to kya gi metek sathi ramudra haibane na hibdi ko natra I natra di kok pa yade haiba sidi nang ai gi pap to kya muk sathi ramudra haibane adu imagine taw ngai ne na hibdu ko adu na hojikti Israel macha singbo mana animal sacrifice institute to biraga sahi khudingi animal sacrifice tawduna leiba darabaso every year they sin again and again and again ko ngasi animal sacrifice tawgani hayeng amuka pap tawgani ngasi ama tawgani hayeng amuka pap tawgani how many animals would be slaughtered ko centuries of animal slaughter animal sacrifice would not clean the sin of Israel people, Israelite. Oh, so he century all oi khare ba. Makoi na sa hat lagi isorda makoi na kadlag pusi. Makoi gi pap kok na ngai. Madu na makoi gi pap kok padu subya yadre ba. Oh, subya yadre ba niyon. Makoi bo isorna nakoi ko Nokoi gi punsi sida hojik de na nokoi bo minai digi aina nokoi bo gok pi khrabani na nokoi do asigi lo si logo aina hai si logo hai na he prepared a long list of do's and don'ts for the people to follow ko 10 commandment hai nai khoi na pa zara ne nang si tau bi ai de si tau rabti pap ne du tau rabti pap ne hai tu na isorna list sembiraga Israel macha sing bo mokoi rakta ma yauraga wilderness ta mana chinglaga chatpane they fell mokoi inba ngamde Israel macha sing do mokoi inba ngamde aduna isorna pap chelabani na mokoi magi manakta asengba isorgi manakta pap puraga changba yadamni na mokoi gi pap kok nangai haiduna to cover their sin He instituted animal sacrifice and thousands of animals have been killed. So many bloods, drums and drums, oceans of bloods have been shed. But no one could be saved. Kerasukan bangam kidre pa to na ko. Kri daw gani hojikti. Is there any way out? Upay kri lay. Kri daw gani. Nang ai gi pap hai bu se adu ki metik severe hai ne da ai na hining bu ko mi oi ba nang ai gi pap se adu ki metik sathi hai ne na hining bu adu gi ne na ngasai han ba hobo matam da minung si khang bai isor na kri gi blood pam bano hai bu na ko adu gi damak da adu gi wahai du dai na hau ki bu adu gi ne adu na tabernacle du da blood sprinkle tawre herga and later on in the temple Jerusalem temple do the blood sprinkle tawre herga chahi kudingi sacrifice tawba aduna mi oi bu kanba ngamdare hebni ก็sin nào sao rebellion against God and sin against God require death. For the wages of sin is death. Oh. Romans ta koi bu tambi bidi tambi prairaga. For the wages of sin is death. Pap ki to mandi sibani hai. Aduna nang ay do sibada bani. Oh. We have no other option but to die. Ikoi adum siki bada bani. Oh. Maram aduna to for the forgiveness of our sin, to cover our sin, God has commanded to do animal sacrifice. Ko, ado na so yadre ba hojik ti ko. Ito animal sacrifice to ba matam sida isor na hay si krihay brayga. If you see Leviticus chapter 22 verse 20, God said, "Do not bring anything with a defect. It will not be accepted." Hay ba nina? Oh, ito na ikoy na Bible papa matamda sacrifice to ba yaw do kwai tigi phaba kwai tigi seng ba ko kwai tigi phajaba yaw halle hay na ikoy na paba du gine ba. Ado hojik ti ado na su yarak tre. Ko ado na su yarak tre. Ado na su miyoy bigi pap kok pa yadre. Maram di krigino hay raga ngasi sacrifice to raga hayeng amo ka pap to ba. Isor na ngasi si penisong nang na ngasi nang na kaino daw do na repent daw do na hay sa bibagi maram na ngasi di yaw na nang gipap pi kre ko hay na hay raga mayam haraw raga church ti hek ko pagandi lambi da mo ka pap daw ba ko aduna animal sacrifice to na yarak tarab ni hojik ti ko aduna makoy do Israel masa sing do makoy gi punsida kri thok pra hay raga their history are checkered with war, oppression, and with serious immorality. Oh, Israel masa singi punsi giwari do war na thale, laan na thale, miyan miso na thale do gamokoy society do. Hen na senglak kadrahe raga hen na moto na sexual immoralities, moral immoralities, ko immoralities miyan sina mokoy si thale raga. Makoy do, they are destined to die because of their sin. Makoy siba daram ne hojik ti ko. Aduna, they were finally carried away in captivity to Assyria and Babylon ko. Makoy bumina laglaga pharaga. At isor na makoy bu saw karabani na hojik ti. Ato pamising na laglaga makoy bu pharaga, makoy gi country da puraga. Minay oy na makoy bu sina bahoram ne. Even after they are freed from those captivity digi makoy bu free taw krom tamda makoy na halak kraba matong daso they are subjugated by the Romans, the Persians. Oh, matang mising na makoy gi lam daso ngasay di minayoy na po bani makoy bu hojik ti mayum da halak kraba pa bu daso mayum da mapan gimi na laglaga makong net laga makoy gi matakta pan ba ho bani ko. This is the story of God's people. Isorgi macha singi wari do si sinatra ne ko. Aduna hojik ti the people chosen by God, their lives are in disaster. God has done so many things to save them, but may amapaw pandre. Aduna hojik ti asing ba isorgi manakta nak na chang ba ngamba hay busidi nang ay gi punsi siti pap na than na ikoy na chang ba ngamda na isorgi burning fire na ikoy bo isor yo drengai da cha khara ga daw na God alone can do something for us. Oh, God alone can do something for us. Unblemished animal sacrifice tawraga nang ay gi pap kok pangamda na something greater than that is required to be killed. So, thousands and thousands of unblemished animals sacrificed before God in centuries and centuries. Century kaya kada, sahi kaya da, lasing lag patakrabag paidigi top oiba sahat paduna nang aigi papok pangamdre. Aduna nang aigi papok pa yan aigi damakta, we require something greater than that. Bible na di haye unblemished oy kadawni nang naingon da purak pa akat pa po to unblemished oy kadawni without any defects haybni. Prithibi gi mi sing siddhi defect lai tabdi kana su yaudre loina defect lai kre. Adu di kri tawba dai. Madu gi muhut sinba ngamba. Adu di mi oy bigi pangal na tarabni na husiti. God alone, the divine alone can do that. Isor khatana mapung phaba sacrifice to oy badabane. God alone, the divinity alone can be the perfect sacrifice. To that extent, adu phaba yauna isor na chale heraga Jisu Krista go ba maki macha no pa pap leitaba unblemished oiba perfect oiba mi dobo nangai gi damakta sacrifice tobni. Masai koina scripture da pabdu ko. For he had made him to be sin for us. He knew who knew no sin, that we might be made the righteousness of God in him. God made his son unblemished, perfection, sin for you and me. He made him a sinner for you and me and die for us. Nang ay gitamagta sinangay mabusem maneba. Maramdi kirigino hayraga. There is one God and only one mediator between man and God. That is Jesus Christ alone. So only Jesus Christ can be the bridge between holy God and sinful man, because he is fully God and he is fully man. Jisu Krista si di masi 100% isor ne, adu gumasi 100% taibang mini. Adu na isor ga mio ibaga samnaan ba ngamba haibado di kanana su ngamdoroy mana tarabdi. Madi isor su oibnina, mi su oibnina. He alone can be the perfect bridge between man and God. Taibang panda isor na ark semlaga, tabernacle semlaga, laimina ba paubada nang ay chang bayada banina. Sorgo di gram hayna chang bayagani koy. Adubo isor na di chang hanninge, isor na di kauksile koy bo la hanninge. Aduna God has to go to that extent, crossing boundaries and do what he could do for us. He sent his son to die. That is the reason why Christ has to shed his blood for you and me. Krigi damagta Jisu siba dakar laibra haibado. Aduni ko. Isin now sa. God has done his part. He has given his life. Hajaba Kumbal, the throne of God. Isorgi matano pa na. Isorgi throne do thadog leherga. Masida papi gum ng sibalakre. Manay koy bu asuki bintik nung sido na. Magi masak law do na in his own image koy bu same leherga. Prithibi sida, let the world, the earth be filled with thousands and thousands and millions of my reflectors. Hay bani so na hay basi. Ay gi isak maan ba? Ay gumba mi na tansno hay bani. Madu oirak taba matam do da mana samoy kaiman do na. Madu oyan nangay gi damakta. Tap to na chat kraba nangay gi punsi si mangonda muka. Sangsin baya nangay gi damakta. Mahaki masano pa, the only son, the only unblemished soul, the one and the only perfect God and human beings. He has to die for you and me. Ito po siyan ba ni? God has done his part. Handag laka daw ba? week singda we will be celebrating Palm Sunday, and we will be celebrating Good Friday, followed by Easter Sunday. So, Isorna ikoi bu nung si bibigi message si ikoi matang ta ka dori. Ngasi ikoi na Isorna ikoi bu nung si bibigi message mate ka ma ikoi na ta ba pange. Isorna ikoi gi damak loi na tawbi kre. Magi sruk ti ma taw kre do bu nang ai gi sruk krino hai bisi. Kasi ai gi question ne ngasi gi ko. I wanted to challenge each one of you. What is your part? God has done his part. What is your part? Ito na iko'y pum na makim kakta so na voice.